What I asked her is if it was a valid test, if it was reliable, and if it was a legal consortia. And she answered that it was valid, it is reliable, and then she would refuse to answer if it was
Okay, so where were we? We were talking about motovloggers and infighting and subgroups within the group of motovloggers and all that good fun stuff. And then opinions about what to wear, what not to wear, being a squid, not being a squid, blah, blah, blah. You know, common sense, dictates that, yes, wearing a helmet. But then again, so is being able to make your own choices for yourself is not a bad thing. If you decide that if you think that skin is irrelevant, or that your head is for that matter, that is on you. And you live with the consequences of your decision.
There's no such thing as it's not my responsibility.
Pretty straightforward. Okay.
Yes. Let me thank, I want to thank all of my subscribers. I really do. Now, I don't know if you watch my channel occasionally, and even if you haven't subscribed and you're kind of a closet zone television groupie, that's fine too. I don't think it's a coincidence that I am where I am where I guess the area or whatever I live in. It's just I believe there are reasons for a lot of different things, and this sort of coincides with me being a person of faith. I'm not ashamed to admit that at all. I've crossed swords with a lot of people that do not believe in God. And I've crossed swords even with people that do, for a variety of different reasons. But that all kind of boils back to the I'm right and you're wrong kind of thing. Now, if somebody is attempting to propagate an opinion or an idea that's based on a limited amount of information or whatever with respect to religion or with respect to faith, I've been known, particularly amongst people that are very close to me, to be the first to speak up and say something about it. So I'm very, I would say that's probably been part of my problem. Part of my problem has been that I can get too overzealous. And the problem with being overzealous about your convictions, particularly in matters of faith, it has a tendency to push people away. And, but the reason I feel so strongly about the things that I do is because I've just had too much good unfold in my life as the result of just really changing my thought and my heart about, the way I think and approach a lot of the problems in life. And so when somebody like an atheist wants to decry the Bible as being a book of fairy tales and that sort of thing, that I would defy them and challenge them to go into that book, and they would be able to find themselves in that book. There isn't anything in the Bible that you can't find that does not apply to your life. I mean, and I'm talking about everything from financial to heartbreak to politics to tyranny to health issues and so forth. So there isn't anything in Scripture that you can't find that doesn't apply to your life. I mean, I think the thing that is lost on a lot of people, and this kind of, I guess there's a fine line between what some people would consider superstition and things that are not based on empirical evidence, or things that are defined by the five physical senses. We call these I call them materialists or empiricists and that sort of thing. So the supposition that the only way that they can derive knowledge is on things from all of their sensory perception, that sort of thing. And so I would submit to the person, and often this is where there's the disagreement. I can't tell you how much I've written extensively about this, and all of the in an effort to, people will say, oh, when you're making an argument about, an ontological argument versus one based in what most people consider reality, sort of thing. The thing of it is that the two really can't mix, and so you're remanded to either being accused of making straw man arguments, or because, for example, an atheist or a secularist will always attempt to get you to frame the argument around empiricism and materialism. And if they're not allowing you, giving you the latitude to introduce ontological concepts, that's where the conflict begins and the conversation summarily ends. The supposition or the contention were numbered, like ontological concepts like numbers, notes, words, and so forth. Were these created, or were these discovered? There's a lot of schools of thought with respect to there's a lot of dissension and a lot of conflict with respect to whether those concepts were created or discovered, or invented or discovered, or so forth, or revealed, if you will. And I'm very much in the camp of revelation, where everything, everything that we've needed to learn has always been, the potential to learn it has always been there, to be discovered. And if you don't concede to that or contend to that, I am of the opinion that you shut yourself off from the ability to further. You're closing the door on a lot of different aspects and opportunities. There's the moon up there. The potential to see so many things. For example, that you couldn't see under a microscope or whatever. And I've even gotten to the point where I've made, when I've gotten on my soapbox or my high horse, if you will, I go so far as to even call seculars dirt worshippers, because they think that the only way that you can derive, that knowledge can only be derived from matter, molecules, and so forth. And I think that that's just a crock of crap. I'm of the opinion that that's just completely and totally ignorant. And conversely, they would be of the opinion that the only way I derive my knowledge is from something that's not tangible to my five senses. And so they would say that, oh, you're more pie in the sky and that sort of thing. Now, this gets into a kind of a pragmatism kind of thing, but to the point, I don't deny that you know, I'm a human being, and that there are things that I have to concessions that I have to make because I live in the human experience.